This episode of The Edge is brought to you by Audible.com, offering more than 180,000 titles for smartphone, tablet, and desktop. To get a free audiobook of your choice and help Trek.fm at the same time, visit audibletrial.com/trekfm. And also by Enterprise in Space, an international program of the nonprofit National Space Society. Find out how you can help science and education and become a virtual crew member aboard the NSS Enterprise Orbiter by visiting enterpriseinspace.org. And if you want to join the conversation and share your thoughts on this episode, join the Babel Conference, our listeners group on Facebook. Just type BABEL into the Facebook search field. We look forward to seeing you there.
You're listening to Trek FM.
What have you done out there on the edge of Federation space?
Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Treks from the Edge, Trek FM's show in which we provide audio commentary for every single episode of Star Trek Discovery. I'm Mike, and today I am joined by Max. How's it going, Max?
It's going good.
Thank you for joining us for part 2 of the big premiere, whatever the heck it is that's on the CBS All Access now. Episode 2 of Discovery, Battle at the Binary Stars.
Battle of the Binary Stars.
Yes. So, we are going to start this up. We're going past the logo at the start of the episode, so just scan past that. We're going to start on the first frame of black. We're going to give a countdown, and we are going to note when the act breaks occur, in case you are watching this on a commercial platform. And if you're not watching it, as long as you've seen the episode, you'll be fine.
Yep.
So, all right, Max, if you're ready.
Yep.
We will start this up in 3, 2, 1, start. And, oh my God, wait. Didn't we see this before? I'm okay with the way that they do this, sort of like, backtracking to where we last left off, because theoretically speaking, you're not going to need a previously on because everyone will have seen everything previously, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So we are thrown into the action here, and right off the bat, this episode, I think, is much more action-oriented than the previous one. Which I think is an interesting choice. But first we get this flashback to 7 years earlier, where Georgiou meets Burnham for the first time, and she's acting very, very Vulcan-y in this particular scene.
Yeah, I think the idea, is, she's she's right out of school, she's like a college kid. She's all hopped up on new ideas, going to change the world.
Just in case you were ever wondering, Max, what it was like to have a conversation with you, pretty much exactly this scene right here. You're Burnham, by the way.
That's awesome. Really.
I'm just saying, where it's like, hey, hey, Max, what if we do this thing? Like, that doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's a bad idea.
It's like, well, but it would be cool because of this, right?
No, I'll do it because it's a bad idea. I'll do it to prove it's a bad idea.
Yes. So.
Once we're halfway in, I'll be like, you see?
Anyway, I feel Georgiou's pain. That's what I'm trying to say.
It wasn't a compliment.
Well, I mean, you could take it as a compliment if you want. That's totally
I already
cool.
did.
All right. So, I mean, but you look at it here, we've got the flashbacks. You got to think, I mean, I'm sure that the Shenzhou sets and the Discovery sets have some degree of interchangeability to them. That just seems to be like an efficient way to go about producing this thing. But, this is a pretty cool, complicated set, and I can't imagine that they built it for just 2 episodes, right? I'm guessing that we are going to see flashbacks throughout this show, you know?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, like I think of like how on all of these Star Trek shows you occasionally see other ships and other bridges. So like you kind of assume that like there have to be other ships showing up periodically, and most of them are gonna look kind of like other bridges.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, I don't know how many times they reused the same set on like Next Gen, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager, but I imagine it had to have been a lot. And most of the time, it was just like, yeah, lots of stuff left over from the motion picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, and you can totally see it in those shows. You can see the rearranging of various things, especially like, I mean, look at the bridge of the Excelsior in Star Trek 6. It's clearly, the Enterprise D bridge, just with the parts moved around and a few things painted different colors or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it goes. So, and I mean, it also kind of makes sense. I mean, this is something which we've discussed numerous times, but the production designer for the pilot, at least, is Mark Worthington, who is known for American Horror Story. And as I understand it, on that show, they really reuse a lot of sets and stuff like that, repurpose them for later seasons and stuff. And I'm wondering and sort of guessing that one of the reasons why they hired him to do this show is for that reason, But here we are with the opening title sequence again. See, now Todd Cherniowski is the production designer, I think, from here on out. Interesting to see how the credits change ever so slightly. A few people added, well, I don't think there's anyone taken away. Well, Mark Worthington. But yeah, see who gets what credit too. That stuff is cool. Olatunde Osunsanmi, he's the producing director, even though he hasn't directed either of these episodes. Kiva Goldsman, who wrote the last episode and is directing the next episode.
Yeah, how about that? Kiva
And
Goldsman.
then you got Berg and Harberts, of course, who are the showrunners. And Gene Roddenberry.
Eugene.
Well, Eugene, that's Rod. But then Gene here, yeah. In this episode, written by Berg and Harberts, with the story by Fuller, directed by Adam Kane, who is a television director who's done lots and lots of work, but he got his start as a cinematographer. Most notably, he was the cinematographer of the Boondock Saints. So there you go.
Okay. It's not bad.
All right, so here we got some Klingon stuff going on.
You can see the Boondock Saints influence here.
I've actually never seen the Boondock Saints, but
Really? It's good.
I've always wanted to. Yeah,
It's legitimately good.
I've always heard good things. Yeah. And
Always?
here's to Kuvma.
It's not that good.
I've usually heard good things.
Okay.
All right. So to Kuvma. Now, what do you think about the choice to have them speaking Klingon all the time?
I wouldn't have a problem with it if like it felt real all the time, and like my only issue is like they're not going to keep it up. Like I have a distrust. I don't have faith in anyone or anything.
I mean,
the world is a nightmare. I think they're going to let us down.
I think that they are going to keep it up. I mean, I was at a convention where they had a couple of these Klingons there, and they were spouting off, Klingon, dialogue and everything, and it's like, wow, and they talked there about how they hired this woman who's like one of the leading authorities on the Klingon language. She's just a fan, cosplayer and everything.
Yeah.
But they hired her as like their official consultant to basically do the translation and to make sure that everyone is actually saying things correctly. And she's worked with the actors, one-on-one in order to make sure that the Klingon is legit. And she's like, this guy whose hologram we're seeing right now, Cole, she's like, that guy is really good. Like he almost seems like he's improvising in Klingon, and lots of times the quote unquote mistakes that he's making on the set end up with better dialogue than what was written. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. But it really does seem like the actors and everyone involved in the production are, doing their homework and making sure that the Klingon sounds legit. I buy it. I haven't heard them slip up yet. Then again, I would not know if they ever did. But
Yeah, that's part of the problem because like it doesn't like I can't make out the sounds. Like they don't more like work on the audio and like the voices come through. There seems to be a lot more like guttural kind of like there's almost like a grunting and like coughing sound.
I wonder how much of that
everything
is.
they say.
I wonder how much of that is just the teeth. How much of that is just the actors literally having a hard time talking.
See, like that's the thing. Like part of this is like the Klingons all look very intimidating, and one of those things is that they all have like that sort of like that like they don't have like pretty eyes. Like all of their eyes are like very red, and I don't believe that's intentional. I think that's because their eyes are bloodshot because they've got 50 pounds of latex on their face. Like it seems like part of the Klingon character of being very aggressive and angry has to come from feeling really inhibited by wearing 100 pounds of armor and 50 pounds of makeup.
That is a criticism that I've seen. People are like, the Klingons seem to speak very slowly, and it's almost like they're trying so hard to like enunciate that they're losing any sort of like spontaneity in their performance. I could just see that as, whether or not that's what's going on, I could just see it as like, hey, that's how Klingons talk, and if that's what you're going to do, then it works. But it's not a problem for me. It's just an interesting choice. I mean, the idea of them, doing all of the Klingon stuff in Klingon, I think is interesting. But yeah, one interesting note for those people in America who don't have this show on Netflix, if you do have this show on Netflix, you can actually watch the entire show with Klingon subtitles. So there you go.
That's something.
Yeah. So here's Takuvma trying to get all the houses to back together to, fight some humans.
Talking to holograms.
And
that seems like it's going to be a thing for this show. I imagine this is going to happen a lot.
Like this battle, I think, is cool because it's not, like a JJ verse battle where, there's like lots of crazy things flying around. It's not like, X-Wings, fighting the Death Star or anything like that. What it feels to me more than anything really is in Return of the Jedi, there's like one shot where like, Luke is he's in the Emperor's throne room, and the Emperor's like, look at that. Look at how, the rebels are being destroyed right in front of us as we speak. Your friends don't have a chance. And all you see out of the window are just a few like blasts. And it's like, wow, how can they tell that from here? That's really interesting. They must really know strategy and stuff and know what's going to be able to tell what that those blasts mean that, the rebels are being destroyed. That's kind of like the impression that I get from the way that this thing is shot. I think it's really effective.
Well, the
like
color-coded energy weapons help a little.
Yeah. I mean, the battles are, they're certainly epic and everything. But then when you get inside, look at this set. Oh, my God. Part of it is, I think, just the lighting, how you got that Tron Legacy look going on, which is obviously amazing. And now here, now this is part of the whole Game of Thrones thing. Now, for those people who don't know, Max, like this guy Connor, he's like one of the first cast members that they announced. Like, I saw him at a freaking convention talking about, how amazing Discovery is. And now here we are, 12 minutes into episode 2, and spoilers, but he's about to die, and like again, maybe we're gonna see him in flashbacks or whatever, but
Yeah.
it's like for someone who's like, we've got all these people, including this random person who's basically been in nothing, who you've never heard of before, but you're gonna need to know his name, and then he's dead instantaneously. That's cool. I mean, that's the way it should be, really, right?
Like the idea of like that's the way it should be. Like it sort of presupposes like subverting like the the variety like article culture. The culture of like tell us about the cast and tell us about the sets and tell us about who's doing the CG and tell us who's your makeup artist and tell us who's your concept artist and tell us who. And it's like this culture of like putting out so much information about the thing because apparently the promotion for a thing has to be just what you've got lying around while you're making it. Like, you're in the middle of shooting the show and like someone's like, hey, NBC wants to do a piece on it for something. And you go, okay, well send whoever we don't need today. That guy, he just died. We don't need him anymore.
No, I mean there's definitely part of that, but like, and that's why I think he ended up at the convention, because they were shooting the show and they're like, okay, well, we're not doing any Klingon scenes today, so we'll give you a couple Klingons. Mm-hmm. We'll give you Wilson Cruz. And, hey, yeah, you can have Sam Bartholomeus, I believe is his name, because, I mean, yeah, we don't need him anymore. So, I mean, but I think that's cool. But, yeah, I don't know. But the fact that they announced it, like, that's the thing where it's like, this is someone you need to know. Meet the crew. And then kill him right away. Now, this shot that we're watching right here, that's the end of the act. The shot that we just saw where it pulls out from the containment field or whatever, because she's sitting in the brig, but then...
Yeah, they've got an energy shield to keep all of their air in and their people in, because that's a good technology to have.
Well, that's an established thing that you have in Next Gen and everything, right? Like, the stasis field is up or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, this shot is
they
great.
never established that it would work for parts of the ship that were gone.
No, they do. I mean, yeah, they do have that. You see that in Generations when, Scotty and Chekhov go down to find where Kirk just died.
Yeah, that's a tiny little thing though. Like this is a giant like bubble that forms around, like it actually conforms to the shape of the ship. That's wild stuff.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it seems like it is a bit of an energy drain and the thing's about to fail. Now, this is rather controversial, but how do you feel about the subspace mind meld?
Don't care.
Okay.
Like that's the thing. Like over the years in Star Trek, you go like they got a lot of weird stuff in this show, and like, has anyone ever tried to use to like you get a mind meld on like a Betazoid, and the Betazoid uses their abilities to extend that mind meld to somebody else, like at distance, like using a mind meld as a ranged weapon. Like, I know that's like a very like strategy game like thinking kind of thing, but it's like, yeah, if those two units like had a joint attack, that could be pretty devastating. Mm-hmm. And if you get like a Riemann in there, he can do that like mind rape thing and just like shut someone down.
Yeah,
there's a lot of possibilities there. So I've thought about like why do they always do the exact same thing every time? And the idea of like a mind meld over distance, like it seems like it'd come up more. It's the kind of thing that would have come up in a number of instances. But
I think they do a good job of sort of like putting it in a little box here by saying like, well, it's because we had the whole Katra thing going on, when you almost died as a kid. And also, like, this is really taking a lot out of me. This is more exhausting than, like, a half of soccer,
half of soccer?
It's a sports reference. Don't worry about it. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
This is a nerd show.
Okay, I apologize. So, yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it, especially since they put sort of like the limiters on it. And I mean, who's to say? I mean, no one knew what a Katra was until Star Trek 3.
No,
So,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Did you know that Klingons can create force fields? It takes like a year off of their life for like
Okay.
5 minutes of a force field, so they basically never do it.
but in a
But
pinch,
like
they
it
can.
is, yeah. If if it's really necessary, but that's the thing. Like their culture is very aggressive. Like they don't want to use the force field, but like they evolved it at some point before they were sentient. When they were primates, they were using it a lot. It's a whole thing. It's established in some fan fiction that I haven't written yet.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine. I mean, obviously, that's the sort of the nature of any mythology. Really, is you're making it up as you go.
Yeah, I like make it up as you go, and I don't have I don't have a strong objection to it. It's just like you could put a little bit more effort in than just saying like, oh, it's super hard, you guys.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like we haven't done it before in literally 50 years of television and movies, but it's because it's super hard, you guys.
Yeah. Also, here's the Europa to the rescue. I do like the design of the Shenzhou in that, and they explained this at the convention. I think it was John Eves who was there showing stuff, and he designed the Shenzhou, and I believe the Discovery as well. And he's like, well, when we put the thing on the front, there wasn't any place to put like the name of the ship and the registry number, so we stuck it on the side. And I like that it's on the side because ultimately, what difference does it make from a practical standpoint? And it's cool. Looks cool. I like it. So
Yeah.
here's our first admiral. Something which no one has said. I don't know. Just as long as we're on the subject of admirals, but Wendy Crewson is going to be on this show as an admiral at some point. She said so herself. She played the first lady in Air Force One. She's cool. I'm excited about that.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. So they're going to try to do a ceasefire here, but the Klingons are deceptive, and this is the thing which I don't.
Kind of bugs me too. If you're going to say what I think you're going to say.
It does not seem very honorable for a Klingon to do this.
Right, but this is pre-original series, and in the original series, they were like mad sneaky.
Okay.
They were always lying. Like,
I mean,
hey,
I guess
Kirk,
that's why
let's
they
have
have
a meeting.
That's why they have like cloaking devices, I guess, too.
Sure.
I don't know, because that seems very non-Klingon-y, right? You
Well,
got to
like-
face your opponent in battle.
The cloaking device coupled with like the forward facing, like direct at your enemy kind of thinking that Klingons espouse, like there have to always have been, in order for that species to have survived, there have to have always been people who are like, yes, but part of being a good and honorable warrior is not getting your companions and allies killed. So we should probably do something about not getting shot when we're not ready.
And I think that's probably what this show is going to do, like on a philosophical level. You know what I mean? It's going to deal with the fact that not all Klingons are Worf. There's a bunch
Yeah.
of different types of Klingons, just like there are bunch of different types of people. So I think that's kind of like the whole premise of this show in a lot of ways. Shields up to 47%. Haha.
Oh yeah.
No, this moment, I absolutely love this moment where the Europa self-destructs, because we've all been on the other side of that.
We've all been blown up in a ship.
What I mean is, as an audience, we've seen the captain almost blow up the ship a lot of times, right? And there's always, that's the end of the act. There's always been some sort of last minute thing which stops them from having to blow up the ship. And you see like the point that they're willing to go, the the distance that they're willing to go in order to, complete their mission or whatever. And
Yeah.
here, and I especially like the fact that everything that we've seen from that admiral makes him seem like a jackass, right? I mean, he's not a nice guy. He's just kind of a jerk, and and the fact that they kind of establish him as being not a bad guy, just a jerky guy, and yet he is a jerky guy who believes so much in this cause that everyone else believes in that he's willing to sacrifice his life for that, and we literally see him do it.
Well, like in that moment, like it seemed kind of like, okay, the ship's gonna blow up. We got one shot to make this maybe do some damage.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
and
probably what it was. It wasn't like, let's sacrifice ourselves for the greater good. It was
No.
like, we're going to die. Let's go out big.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely true, but at the same time, I mean, as if I were in that position, I'd probably be like, are we sure we want to do this, though? Like, are we sure that we're going to die right now? Because maybe if we're not, I mean, like, maybe, what are the odds? 0.02%? Well, then let's just see how this goes.
See, my thinking was more cynical because I thought like they're ramming right into the front of the ship. So like the first few like sections, like everyone there's dead, and then the bridge is like right in the middle of that dish. So like they're probably also dead. And before they were dead, the captain was like, "Let's blow up the ship."
Maybe. I don't know.
There are definitely people at the very back of the ship who don't know this is happening yet.
Oh, well. Okay, now this might
I'm
be
just saying he's a murderer.
Okay. This scene might be my favorite scene in the entire series so far, because she totally, Captain Kirk's this computer right here, right?
Yeah.
With her logic, and I think that it's pretty awesome, and like that's exactly what I thought when I was watching this. I'm like, oh my god, it's just like Kirk in every other episode of, the original series. And then my wife is like, she just Kirked that, and then she flies out of this thing, and my wife is like, she just Kirked that too. She literally went from one Kirk to the other Kirk in the span of like 2 seconds. She's yeah.
Double Kirk.
Yeah. She can do both. So, I mean, it's a cool scene. It's a cool scene. It definitely works. And I like it because it is an action beat. Just like the spacewalk thing or whatever, the same sequence essentially that we saw in Into Darkness, but it's toned down to a very, very small level, and yet we're a lot more emotionally invested in it here, I think, and that actually makes it more effective, even though it's not as "quote unquote" exciting.
Okay. Yeah, I have a slight problem with the incredibly intelligent computer that can calculate all of these things, but it's like, I can't let you go. You're a prisoner.
I can see that though.
But she's like, I would die, and the computer's like, yep. And she's like, but I'll die if this shield fails. And the computer goes, yep. And she goes, okay, so what if there was a way to not die? And the computer goes, I don't know what you're talking about. That's just crazy. You're a crazy person. But like, she describes the scenario, and the computer's like, hold on, let me think about that. Yeah, that could work. Girl, that's crazy.
But I like
thought
that.
of that?
I
just
like
thought
that.
of that right now? That's amazing.
But it shows her intelligence, It shows, her Vulcan training in terms of, logic and working things through step by step. And
man, I'm going to email this to all the other artificial intelligences on other starships so that the next time this happens, like, they'll know what to do.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah. I mean, a lot of good stuff. I mean, like one right after the other, I mean, the whole, and complicated stuff too, I mean, like talking about that admiral, I like that none of these things are black and white. That guy can be a jerk and still be a hero, she can, commit mutiny and yet still be right in doing so, I mean, that sort of thing. I mean, this is like moral complexity on a Deep Space Nine level, and the fact that we're going to see it in long form is very exciting to me.
Yeah, I'm like I didn't mention this like for the other episode, but like right at the end of that intro when they get beamed up and you see the insignia, I had like a flash when I was first watching it, like, oh no, oh no, it's just more, because that is a very JJ verse kind of move.
I guess kind of, yeah.
So like I was like, please, oh no, they're doing it, and then like it kind of kept going, and I was like, okay, so like they're trying to have those kind of like big cinematic, like, like hit the Star Trek theme like you're a DJ in a nightclub and you want to really get the audience going, like drop it, drop that bass line, like get that insignia, have like a ship show up and like a big lens flare, like they want to do that, but also do two people covered in makeup arguing about politics.
Yeah.
And like I was like, okay, well, let's see how it goes. So like I'm at the point now, having seen both these episodes, where I'm like, okay, let's see how it goes.
Okay. All right. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I'm okay. So now here we have, like a very interesting thing. I mean, they were talking about, doing this suicide mission sort of thing where they send up the thing. And now here,
Captains love their suicide missions.
yeah, I guess so. But here, they've found a way to outsmart them. I mean, this to me is like straight up out of Wrath of Khan, right? I mean, in like the best possible way, where it's like the impossible scenario solved by, that's the end of the act, solved by people thinking things through, logically, like, strategy. It's about beating your opponent with your brain instead of with your brawn. You know what I mean? And I think that's pretty awesome. I
don't know. I think a proton torpedo warhead it counts as brawn.
Okay, but you can't just fire at it. Fire the thing. I mean, it's not like you're overwhelming them with power.
I agree. No, it's like it has to be, like they're being a little sneaky about it. Mm-hmm. They're using like the Klingons, a sentimental desire to honor their fallen friends against them.
Yeah,
that's cool, right?
I mean,
that's okay, I guess.
I mean, you can discuss the morality of it later on, but the fact of the matter is they just killed a whole bunch of people, and they're about to kill you too. So,
that it's definitely true. Like there's I was watching this and I was just like are the Klingons Nazis? Like, because they're like they've got this very like us. Like preserve our culture, don't let them take it away, and somewhere during the course of the episode, I was like, Nazis don't even deserve the Klingons. They're better than them. Like, I have more respect for the Klingons' culture than a bunch of our current present day real world Nazis.
Well, I mean, that's something which they've talked about a lot, is the idea that, of course, it being Star Trek, it's going to reflect, what's going on in the world today. And they've talked about, the Klingons not being bad guys, just being complex guys. They've said this again and again. There are no good versus evil things going on in here. It's like two sides of a conflict.
And but there's that thing, like there's two things. One, they call him Takuvma the Unforgettable, and literally no one has ever mentioned him, so I'm pretty sure they forgot that dude. secondly, like he has that moment where they're watching the hologram, and George was like, she's about to say, and he goes, "Here comes the lie." She says, "We come in peace," and he's like, "There, see what I said? I
Yeah.
told you she would lie." And everyone's like, "Yeah, he's right. She did say that thing," and he's saying it's a lie. They don't come in peace. They come to conquer us. It's a lie, and it's like that is dumb reasoning. Like that is really stupid. Like he's saying like they're here to, take over our worlds, our culture. They're going to wipe out what we are, and we're not going to be Klingons anymore. We're going to be biologically Klingons, but culturally some other thing. And he's like, let's all unite and fight against them. And like I was like, this sounds super familiar, and they could not have like it's a lot like Charlottesville, like it's very like timely, but it also they're still better.
So here we have Michelle Yeoh fighting a Klingon.
She can fly.
She can, yeah. Apparently, I think they said this on After Trek or something like that. But Chris Obi, the guy playing the Klingon, was so excited to have a fight scene with Michelle Yeoh that he kept on running around the set saying, "I kicked Michelle Yeoh's ass," which is funny. I can't say that I would be doing something different, but I mean, it's pretty cool that they were able to get someone of her sort of like stature. So we just saw the death of Philippa Georgiou.
Yes. What? No, she died? What?
Yeah.
That's crazy. How would? But she's the captain of the ship on the show with the ship, and she's the oh, that's so unpredictable.
It's interesting to me here that I mean
I
I
didn't
guess
see that coming since 2 years ago.
I was expecting that Takuvma was going to die, but I not like this, I mean, I thought that they, for one thing, I thought they would like stun him, not like shoot him like that. But I also thought like, it might be a, I don't know. I mean, I would have expected them to really like try to take him back to the ship, I don't know.
Well, at some point during this episode, I think it was, it was probably around the time they were chanting Takuvma the Unforgettable. I was like, this is the second part. Like this, they're doing like a whole like arc thing where like this story ends and another story begins. And while I know that it's a Star Trek show in the now times, so it's not going to be standalone episodes. Like they're still going to kind of want to do like, anomaly of the week storylines.
Yeah.
And they can't do that if like they're in the middle of a war with the Klingons and everything relates back to like this one guy. Like they have to sort of like stop one story and start up another one. So I was kind of like, yeah, they're gonna kill this guy because she says like they'll unite around him as a martyr, and I was like, oh, that would work. That would actually work. That would give you the motivation to actually have everything sort of fall into place for standalone stories and like serialized storytelling.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. I mean, some of the Klingons that we saw, like it seems like, are going to be semi-regulars on the show.
Yeah, like weird larva Klingon guy. He's going to come up again.
Maybe, and
I'm pretty sure you see him in like the preview for this season.
Yeah, and then I think her name is Laurel, the woman who was like sort of like hanging out with him. She's going to be big on the show, and one of the guys, like kind of like the main guy who he was talking to as a hologram, Cole, he's going to be big on the show too. So here we have the tribunal or whatever it is in this scene. A lot of
futuristic, judges kind of thing have to be backlit and you can't see their faces. That's just I did actually find that frustrating. I thought that was kind of cheesy.
A lot of people said that. I don't know. Whatever. It's impressionistic. I'm okay with it. But whatever. But oh my God, she's going to prison for life. That's going to make this show really weird going forward. I didn't know it was going to be a prison show.
That's the thing. Like, I heard that and I was like, oh, finally, we get to see like the Star Trek version of Oz.
Yeah, right.
And then like it does the teaser, and I'm like, oh, bummer. I was really hoping for like an extended kind of like. I guess they're gonna like. It seems like within like 30 seconds or so, they're gonna be like. They're gonna do the Snake Plissken thing and be like, we need you for this assignment.
Perhaps
we need you to rescue the president's adopted Vulcan niece or whatever.
But is it possible that Discovery...
She's like you, but the other way around. It's crazy, right? You'll make a great team.
But is it possible that Discovery is a prison ship or something like that? I wonder.
I don't think so.
I guess we'll find out.
I mean, what's a prison ship? Like, why would you have a prison mobile? Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's like having a prison in space.
Well, like the Botany Bay or something,
Right, but that wasn't. That was more like a get rid of them kind of ship. It wasn't really a prison.
Whatever. Well, it's been fun talking about episode 2 of Discovery this week, but be sure to check out our other Discovery coverage throughout the week. Live from the Edge airs on Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern and will be released as a podcast on Tuesday mornings. Then our commentary show, Tracks from the Edge, will be available on Wednesday. We'll discuss your feedback on Postcards from the Edge on Thursday, and of course you can catch our full analysis on the Edge main show on Friday. To wrap up the week, join us for Notes from the Edge on Saturday for links between Discovery and the broader franchise. And you'll find all of these shows in the main feed for the Edge, so if you just subscribe to the Edge, then you'll get everything, and you can also find them all in the Trek FM master feed, of course. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Discovery. The best place to do this is in the Babel Conference, our listeners group on Facebook, where Amy Nelson will collect your feedback for Postcards from the Edge. You can also find us on Twitter at TrekFM and send us an email using the contact form on our website at trek.fm/contact. Just choose to send to a show and pick the Edge. We'd also like to thank our associate producers today, Norman C. Lau, Tony Robinson, Thomas Puleo, Lisa Slack, and Shoab Mirza. If you'd like to help keep all of our shows going and even become an associate producer yourself, visit patreon.com/trekfm for all the details. Max.
I'm not sure. I was trying to keep count, but I'm not sure. But I think if you say Edge one more time, that'll be 47 times.
I think it's probably a lot more than that, but okay. that works. Thank you very much for joining me for these 2 episodes. It was a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see where this show is going to go, and we'd love to have you back soon.
Yep.
All right. Well, tune in next Wednesday for the next episode of Discovery and the next episode of Tracks from the Edge.
There it is. 47.